They say time heals all wounds. It doesn't heal a missing person's wounds. Your heart is still shattered, Rhonda Bali, Michaela's aunt, said. You learn to put on a face where you're not bawling with everybody, but you're so shattered inside that when you get up in the morning, your first thought is, you just don't want to get up. You don't want to move. There's nothing to live for anymore. Your ray of sunshine is gone, and you have to try and pretend that you can go on. This is the story of Mekayla Bali, who vanished on April 12th of 2016. "16-year-old Michaela is described by her mother, Paula, as an average teenager who loved music, loved to read, take pictures of nature, and wanted a career in childcare or possibly be a veterinarian. Her friends describe her as someone who was caring and loved music and was super aware of what her needs were and what her friends' needs were. Her Aunt Rhonda shares a sweet moment that she had with Michaela not long before she vanished. Michaela wanted to surprise her for her birthday, so she purchased an accordion and learned how to play Happy Birthday. She goes on to explain how Michaela had never played an accordion, but wanted to learn just so she could surprise her, saying that that's just the kind of person that she was. It's been nearly 8 years since Michaela Bali seemed to just vanish off the face of the earth, leaving behind a massive amount of pain. Her family and her friends long for answers and continue to fight for them, grieving deeply and growing more angry and confused and frustrated as the years drag on. The Bali family still knows very little about what could have possibly happened that fateful day. It was like any other day on April 12th of 2016. The Bali household woke to an absolutely average day. Michaela and her mom, Paula, got up around the same time, usually getting ready in the bathroom together, using this time to chit-chat and listen to music before having breakfast together. Paula recalls the day being just as normal as any other day. After school that day, Michaela's grandmother drove to Sacred Heart High School to pick her up to take her to a music lesson, but Michaela never showed. As she waited, she grew weary, and she was so worried that she drove to Paula's workplace, and she wanted to let Paula, Michaela's mom, know that Michaela never showed up. This put Paula on edge. She knew immediately that something was off. Paula's mom never showed up at her place of work. She hoped that maybe Michaela forgot or possibly got a ride from somebody else and was hoping that this was all just a misunderstanding. Paula headed to Sacred Heart High School and began frantically searching for her daughter. She looked everywhere, running around the entire school, looking anywhere she could possibly think of, even under school buses, screaming Michaela's name. As she calls Michaela's phone over and over, there's no answer. She's texting her and she isn't getting a response. Paula is trying to remain as calm as possible while going over the different scenarios in her head, thinking that if she could have possibly run away, she would have taken their emergency cash stash. Paula says, as a single mom, I always have a slush fund in the house, a cash fund, and Michaela had access to that. She said, I remember going down the stairs thinking that if she ran away, that money is going to be gone, and it was all there. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments in my life where you realize this wasn't a teenager doing something senseless. When Paula realized this, she knew that she had to call the police and file a police report, so she did. Paula recalls this being the most devastating day of her life. She goes on to say, your world just stops. It's quiet. The whole house just died. Everything was quiet, serene. It was just, your life is over. You don't have, everything is gone. Everything is so heartbroken, and you don't have a funeral to plan like if someone was dead. It's not like that. You have nothing. They've just vanished. It's beyond heartbreak. It's beyond what anyone could ever imagine. So painful. Michaela went to school that day, but she never attended any of her classes. What happened that day has baffled everyone involved in solving this case, as well as all of her family and all of her friends. The day of her disappearance, Michaela left school around 8:24 a.m. She is spotted on several surveillance cameras in different areas around Yorkton, Saskatchewan. At 8:51 a.m., she is seen on surveillance footage at a TD bank where she withdrew $55 before she left the bank. At around 9 a.m., she is seen at a Terry's Pawn and Bargain, where reports state that she tried to pawn 2 rings, but the store owner declined. She's then seen at the Yorkton East Tim Hortons restaurant. She buys herself a coffee and she sits down alone around 9:10 a.m. She's sitting and using her phone, and every now and then she glances over at the doors. After about 7 minutes, she gets up and she walks out of the restaurant, but then she turns around and re-enters the restaurant before turning around again and leaving. What's really odd is that around 9:49 a.m., Mekayla goes back into the Tim Hortons restaurant, and she is seen making a call on a cell phone, but reports state that no calls were made to or from her phone on that day. So, whose phone was she using and who was she calling? Even more suspicious, Mekayla actually texted a friend that day saying, "Hey, I need help." But a short time later, she sent another text to that friend saying, "Never mind, I figured it out." At this point, it's around 10:25 a.m. Mekayla is still at Tim Hortons restaurant, sitting alone in that booth. She can be seen getting up and walking out of the restaurant, and just a couple minutes later is seen returning and making her way back to the same booth, and it looks like she's speaking with someone on a cell phone. But like I mentioned earlier, no calls were made on her phone that day. About 20 minutes later, Mekayla is seen speaking with a woman in a nearby booth. The woman says that Mekayla asked her if she could get her a motel room, and when she refused, Mekayla left the restaurant. And that was about at 10:44 a.m. Police are wondering if Mekayla approached anyone else for a hotel room or possibly for a ride somewhere or even to just borrow their phone. She is seen on surveillance footage walking down the street, making her way back to the Sacred Heart High School. It was around lunchtime, and Mekayla talked to 2 of her fellow students in the lobby, and she told them that she was going to catch a bus to Regina to go on a little vacation before leaving the school only just a few minutes later on foot. Mekayla arrived at the Yorkton bus depot and inquired about a bus leaving for Regina. She spent some time in the bus station restaurant, and reports say that she was last seen at this bus station between 1 p.m. and 1:45 p.m. But she never purchased a ticket, and she was never seen or heard from again. Her phone was turned off at 6:61 p.m. the next day. And that's it. Months later, police would receive a tip about a Facebook message that was opened and read on Mekayla's Facebook Messenger account, as well as open and read Snapchat messages, but these tips are still being investigated. International authorities also investigated a possible sighting of Mekayla in Washington state, but there's still no leads. Tips have poured in over the years, but Mekayla is still missing. 8 long, excruciating years have passed with still no answers. Mekayla's family has been impacted so deeply by her disappearance. In May of last year, 2023, Mekayla would have graduated high school. July 2nd, 2023, Mekayla would have turned 24 years young. In December of 2023, the Bali family spent another Christmas without their loved one. Only an empty chair for Mekayla and a reminder that her memory lives and the love her family has for her is undying and runs so incredibly deep. Mekayla's family looks upward in the new year as we enter 2024, in hopes that this year is the year that Mekayla comes home. There is now a $100,000 reward for her safe return, and if you have any information regarding Mekayla's disappearance, please call. As a mother myself, I cannot fathom the amount of pain Mekayla's family has suffered through. But as they continue to fight for answers and search for Mekayla, their strength shines through, and it's so incredible. As always, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this case. If there's a case you would like me to cover, please feel free to send me an email or comment down below. All it takes is one instant and your entire life can change. My hope and my goal here is to bring those stories to light. I'm hoping to share some more lesser known cases with you in hopes that we can bring awareness to them. If you'd like to support me on this journey, please consider subscribing as it does help. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post a video. I appreciate each and every one of you here watching, and I will see you on the next video.